And today we're going to talk about chapters of half of chapter 14 and 3 pages into chapter 15. Okay, I know that's sort of like a confusing schedule and you're like, what? But it's gonna be good. I'm just gonna choose it so that we're gonna make it sort of tension. There's gonna be some tension. This is gonna really be good for us, okay? Now, it's by Meg Medina. She's one of the CNN's 10 Visionary Women in America. Wow! So she's a really good author. She has won the Pura Belpré Award, so that's a big prestigious award that you can get to. And this itself has won the Newbery Medal. Ooh, a shiny medal, right? Awesome! It's a great book. Newbery medals are distributed to like the best of the best books, and this is definitely one of the best books. So yeah, read it. It's awesome. So let's dive back into the middle of chapter 14. Because remember, last time we did leave off. So today we're gonna start at page 162 and we're just gonna go on. Okay, so let's start with the first one, 162. That's the first page, at least for today, okay? Remember, last time, Edna was asking Mr. Suarez, or just Mercy's grandfather, but about how bad boys are supposed to be kids, right? And so that's the response right now. Okay, here, yes, they are boys and girls, but back in Cuba, carga baits can be adults even today. So you see, Senorita Santos, I'm really Batman. Even Miss McDaniels, who organized the event, liked him. In fact, he asked me about him this morning because Grand's Day is next week and it's the year we have to have it. And it's the last year we get to have it. 7th and 8th graders are too old for grandparents, apparently. Will that charming Mr. Suarez be joining us this year? She asked. Absolutely, I said. Then I hurried off. I didn't want her to ask me about my sunshine buddy. I don't dare tell her that the only new contact I've had with Michael is texting him the reading assignment he missed when he went to the orthodontist. I wonder if giving him a good kick in the shins for eating my food would count as an activity. I toss up a pitch and load my weight on the back leg the way Lolo taught me. As usual, I get right under the ball with a satisfying smack that sends it far into the outfield. It arcs high and hits near the top of the fence. Another couple of feet and it would have been a homer for sure. Maybe if Lolo stops acting so weird, I could try out a spot on the softball team in the spring. The crowd roars, a voice says. So, I'm not gonna go on because I read one page. So, but anyway, who do you think says the crowd roars? And of course, there is actually no crowd. So, what do you think that the speaker is doing? Like, what do you think he's sort of putting into his voice? Because like, he might say, the crowd roars! Or he might say, the crowd roars. How do you think that he's saying it? And can you describe it like with a few words? Sarcastically. Right? Like, there's no crowd and there's no roaring, right? So maybe some sarcasm is in it, but who do you think is saying this? Dun 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 dun! But anyway, let's go back here. Do you think that you would like Grand's Day? And how do you think that maybe Grand's Day, why do you think that the school even chose to have a Grand's Day? Why do you think that they even did that? Why do you think they just didn't ignore it? What do you think? Well, we can appreciate the past, right? Because the grandparents, they lived in the more past time, right? They weren't in like they aren't here, so they aren't what I mean is that they live in the present, but they also have lived in the past, so they know this, right? And we can also appreciate the history and the culture from our grandparents. Also, it's just really good, a really good time to appreciate your grandparents. So I have a question. Why do you think that grandparents are so special? That's actually good writing or essay prompt I can also write about. But for right now, since if you like writing, you can write this and actually put it in the comments below. Now, do you think that that Mercy's grandfather is probably going to be the most interesting grandparent? What do you think? And do you think that your grandparents are interesting? Definitely for me. Now, and then so I also want to point out this sentence, and it's 7th and 8th graders are too old for grandparents apparently. Now, is anybody too old for a grandparent? Like, let's say, I don't know which grade you are in, but let's say you're 7th or 8th. Are you too old for your grandparents? Like, can we ever like be too old for our grandparents, or do you think that's not possible? My mom's grandparent, which would be my great-grandmother, is still alive today. And so yeah, and she still appreciates her grandmother. See? Yeah, just wanted to share that quickly. Just wanted to say that, yeah, I have a personal experience. My mom, she still appreciates her grandmother, who is now about 90 years old. Something like that. Okay, anyway, so I just wanted to point that out because I have a personal experience, so I can actually relate to this. But it's all your opinion. What do you think? Do you think that you can ever outgrow your grandparents or not? Now, do you think that if you had Mercy, you would have actually done a better job of, like being friendly to Michael and all that, or would you be like the same as Mercy and not really like, at least not putting the full effort, or just not be as good as you could be? And do you think that also, do you think that, what are some ideas that you could give Mercy on trying to really talk to Michael and all that, or do something with Michael? Go to the ice cream place, read books? Maybe that's not gonna be the best thing. Go to SeaWorld? That would be too complicated to really arrange that. Go to the Home Depot? Just kidding. I'm pretty sure that no kid would like to talk at the Home Depot. No offense, Home Depot, but seriously, you're a little boring at times. Play video games? Unfortunately, I don't have any video games, so I would have to go over to his house. And I can't depend on the fact that he has video games he might not have. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe just meet at the park or something. Okay, I really have no idea. But anyway, yeah, that's just something that I am thinking. I know they're pretty lame. So you can also write them down, and also you can actually put them in the comments too. Like if you want to put any answer in the comments, then you're perfectly free to do that, okay? Now, final question. And then we are actually going on to the person who said the crowd roars, okay? So, do you think, what's your favorite sport anyway? Because Mercy, her favorite sport is soccer, but she's also really good at baseball. And why do you think that, Lolo, right? Do you think that he's ever gonna even get to Grand State? Because he's sort of not normal in a way, right? He's sort of strange acting, so do you think that he's gonna be able to come back on Grand State or not? Just curious, because I'm just asking these questions because I'm just nervous about Lolo, and we're all sort of all nervous, right? So I just want to see what you're thinking. Okay, and now let's go on to the next page. Okay, I turn around and find Michael Clark watching me from behind the chain link fence at home plate. He shakes the hair out of his eyes and grins. I give him a cold look since I'm still mad about lunch. Plus, Edna might be around and ready to pounce. When she found out that I texted him the assignment, she got all huffy. You texted him? Rachel had demanded, wide-eyed. You have his number? All sunshine buddies have each other's numbers. Who cares? Edna said, but you could tell that she cared for sure. She shot death rays at me from across the table the rest of the lunch. I practically needed a Wander Nation force shield to protect me. I glanced around the field. A few boys have come out of the gym doors and are walking our way. Good. Let them talk to him. I don't speak to food thieves, I say. It wasn't me, he says. I was just a witness. Michael comes from the fence and scoops up a couple of balls from the bag near my feet. He can hold 2 in each enormous hand, I notice, just like Lolo. He trots to the mound and faces me. I have a good arm, you know. Fast curveball, you call it, he says. I stand there blinking. So, did you sort of expect that it would be Michael Clark who says the crowd roars, or did you think it was another person? I actually thought maybe it was Edna Santos, this sarcastic, no offense person, but I also understand why maybe Michael Clark, yeah, but I was still sort of expecting Michael Clark all the same to have actually said that. And anyway, if you had been Mercy, would you have just ignored him? Like, how would you have acted toward him? Or would you just be like, oh, I forgive you? Or would you still glare coldly because you're still mad about lunch? What do you think that you would do in this if you had been Mercy? Well, if I had been Mercy, I think that I would have glared at him coldly. And then I would have, I don't know, at least I would have glared at him coldly. And then, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about that. But for right now, just the glare coldly. That's the only thing I figured out so far. Do you think that texting somebody, why do you think that Edna and Rachel made such a big deal about it? And do you think that, like, what do you think that sort of texting symbolized in the girl world or the dating world, the texting world, the school world, if you want to talk about it? Or just, yeah. I sort of do think that, like, texting, at least in middle school, is like a big, huge, amazing thing, you know? Not in elementary school, though. My friend and I, we text all the time. We set up lots of play dates. And we also watched Godzilla and King Kong. Really fun book. If you ever get the chance to watch it, watch that. It's such a good one. Yeah, he's a great friend. Now, why am I talking about Godzilla and King Kong? See how we can drive out of control? Yeah, but seriously, you gotta watch that. It's so good. Okay, never mind. Let's go back here. Have you ever said, who cares, but you actually care about it? Have you ever said that? We've most done this because we've been jealous at some time or another. So when's one time when you've been jealous? And have you said who cares then? Or if that's a little too hard and you've never been jealous but you said who cares but you actually care, then just do that time when you just said who cares but you actually care. Whoa. Okay. Well, who cares? Let's see. Okay. Well, my friend got a drone. A helicopter. Not a drone, but a helicopter for his birthday. I was jealous. I mean, a helicopter. And you might be like, okay, a model helicopter, a toy helicopter, that's not much. But this could fly, like, really fast. It was one of those really expensive, awesome ones. Urgh. It was torture. Seriously, it was torture. The only good thing I got for Christmas this year was books. That was all. Sob. And he got a drone. I mean, not a drone, a helicopter. So I said, who cares? I didn't say that to him. He would get hurt feelings. But when I was out and and my mom was driving me home, I said to myself, who cares about that? Because at least I have the power of books. Which, it might sound a little corny, but it's actually pretty cool. Oh yeah, and speaking about books, I have decided that every day I'm gonna try to do a book recommendation. Now, on a lot of my videos, I've just done them without any book recommendations, so I have done it at times. And I decided that I'm gonna try, at least to remember, I might not remember, but I'm gonna try to remember, do some book recommendations at the end of the day. Try to do that, okay? That's gonna be part of my after, like the bye schedule for me. But anyway, why are we talking about this? Back to the book. So, now, do you think that Michael, he did like defend himself by saying that he was just a witness, but still, do you think that he should have done something? And do you think that makes him mean? Like, what do you think? And why do you think that he didn't do it if he didn't do it? What do you think? Or do you think it's just he wanted to make fun and he didn't really, and he just wanted to do it for fun? What do you think? And he just didn't say it. Well, I think that he just didn't do it because then the other kids wouldn't accept him, and that would be bad, right? That would be bad because then he would be all alone. No boys, because when we make friends, that it's not mostly, but if you look at my school, mostly the girls are in one group, the boys are in another. They rarely collide. Yeah, so you can see here that Michael, he's sort of, if he doesn't, it's like he gets kicked out, he gets flipped out, right? And that would be pretty bad for anybody. And this actually has made lots of people do things that maybe they shouldn't have done. So that's just my guess, though. And do you think that, why do you think that Mercy's sort of like blinking? Like, when somebody's blinking like that, like, what does it mean? Sort of like they're confused or like shocked or like surprised, right? And if you have been Mercy, would you have been surprised or would you have just taken it in stride? What do you think? I don't know. But Michael, at least he says that he wants to bet, right? So, let's start with the next page. And if you have been, okay, that's a question for the next page. Okay, let me read. You scared? He asks. Oh, please. Come on then, $5 if you can hit it, which you won't. He shakes the hair from his eyes again. I give him a pitying look. What can a new kid really know about my skills? This will be like taking candy from a baby, which, now I think of it, he deserves. But I am going to hit it, I say. I'm going to smack it right out there. And then you're not allowed to touch my food again. Or let anyone else touch it either. Ever. Call it, he waits for me to answer. $5 will inch me closer to my new bike, won't it? Instinctively, I crouch in my best batting position and lift my bat over my right shoulder. Send what you want, I tell him, and then prepare to fork over the dough, Michael Clark. No crying about it either. You can say you were warned. Ha! By now, kids in our class have gathered on the bleachers, including Edna, who has eyes trained on us like a hawk. She's pointing her new sneakers that have cheetah print rubber tips. From the expression on her face, I'd say she might want to claw me to death like a big cat. All week long, she's been giggling and saying Michael's name too loud to get his attention. And I'm actually just gonna read the 2 pages and then ask you, okay? Okay, wait, sorry, yeah. She's been sending him snaps every chance she gets. I wish he'd just like her already and get it over with. You're not supposed to touch that stuff yet, Mercy, she calls out. But just this once on this field, I don't want Edna to be in charge. Hurry, I tell him. I hear a whistle blow. Mr. Patchett is jogging toward us. He waves his muscled arms. He is not one for breaking rules as it violates his army training. I grip my bat and set my feet. Come on, pitch! Michael pivots slowly, gazes out in the direction of the trees for a few seconds, and then wham, he releases a throw. I focus my eyes on the ball seam the way Lolo always says, and I make contact. Hey, Maria! Okay, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Eva Maria? Okay, that's the problem. I am not good at Spanish. Really, I'm very terrible at Spanish. I would be discriminated from the Spanish world if they knew how bad I am at pronouncing and stuff. My arms tingle with an electric jolt. Michael wasn't kidding. His throw is hard enough to make my teeth vibrate. Unfortunately, the ball doesn't arc. Instead, it riots off my bat like a bullet. Fetcheta? I don't know. Sorry. Okay, there's another Spanish word. Okay. The line drive clips Michael squarely in the face. He drops to the mound like he's been shot. Dun, 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 dun. Really good drum roll time, right? Make all your drum rolls. 1, 2, 3. hands are. But so we have a lot to talk about. First of all, do you think that have you ever been like, oh, I'm totally gonna be that guy? Have you ever been like that, or have you never been like that? And do you think that Edna is just gonna make more trouble? Because remember, bang! Who got that? Michael. So do you think that Edna's gonna be like, oh, Mercy, I know, I feel so sorry for you. Come on, I'm gonna give you a hug. Or do you think she's gonna say to Mr. Patchett, hey, Mr. Patchett, Mercy threatened Michael and then hit him. Let her get suspended. What do you think is a more likable, realistic one? Maybe the second one, right? To get Mercy suspended. I'm right now pretending I'm holding jail bars. See? You could imagine that. Ah! Okay. And then so when Michael drops, what did you think? Did you think that was 1, dead? Did you think that was 2? Yeah, fainted. Do you think that 3, he was just really hurt? Do you think that 4, he was just hurt and not much and he just fell over? And 5, do you think he just tripped? 6, do you think that he was injured badly? 7, do you think that he just pretended to die? Or, I don't know. Even though I don't know why somebody would pretend like that. Right? So, so that is what happened, right? And when you read that, like, how did your heart go? Like, when I'm scared, like, my heart beats. When I'm scared, my heart stops. Actually, that's never happened before. But sometimes when I'm really surprised with something, I've actually felt my heart skip 2 beats. I know, but it skipped 2 beats before. I am not kidding. I swear, if I had a Bible, which I unfortunately don't have, I'm gonna have to swear. Fine, I'm gonna pretend this is the Bible. I swear. See? Now, last 2 questions. 1, what do you think the punishment is going to be for Mercy? I don't know, some suspension, some shouting, and finally, disappointment. Always bad. And maybe some glaring. And maybe some grudges, right? And if you had been, I don't know, Dr. Newman or whoever, like dictates all the suspensions, I always imagine them as like the really bad guy. Like, I'm not right now doing handcuffs, I'm just, like how some people are like, ha, ha, ha. I always imagine the suspension guy as that, even though most people who just do suspension are just trying to do good. But still, I always imagine them like this. That reminds me, I could always be an actor. Yeah. I don't know, who knows? Now, I'm not gonna talk about this anymore. And so if you have been that guy though, or yeah, what would be the suspension? Like, what would be like, not the suspension, but like what would be the punishment then? I think that mine would be say sorry to Michael Clark. Just apologize. And then I'm just gonna have a talk with Mercy. And then I'm a light guy, so I wouldn't like suspend her or anything. But but she's gonna have to apologize, and she is going to have a talk. Okay, but that's gonna be all. I'm not gonna like say "Mwahaha" and suspend her 2 days or something, and that would be too cruel in my opinion. Now, let us go on to the next 2 pages. From now on, I'm gonna actually just read 2 pages. Okay. I can't repeat the word I shout, but I toss my bat and race over to him. He's a huge, motionless heap on his back. His top lip is split and blood dribbles down his pale neck. Kids shout ooh as they run at us and close in a circle all around. Mr. Patchett blows his whistle again and again, peeling bodies back as he tries to reach us. Stand back! Stand back! Mercy hit Michael Clark in the face with a baseball, Edna says, turning on me. The second Mr. Patchett gets here, she looks at me angrily. Jerk! I was right! My prediction was right! Woo-hoo! I was right! Man, I was right! Woo-hoo! So I was right there, right? So I was right in my prediction. Okay. Let me keep on reading. Mr. Patchett unhooks his walkie-talkie. Miss McDaniels, we need Nurse Harris ASAP to field B. Head injury. Over. Then he starts digging in the first aid kit he wears as a fanny pack. Who authorized you to begin without a teacher present? He pulls out his gauze and other supplies. I didn't begin. We were just... Who? He demands again. No one's there. He pulls on rubber gloves and leans over Michael. Son, can you tell me your name? It's Michael, Anna says. The question is not for you, Miss Santos. Mr. Patchett snaps. Stand back, please, and be quiet. Then he turns to Michael again. Name? He mumbles. All I can think of is Abuela's warnings about head injuries. Is Michael brain damaged? Will he ever speak again? Sit up slowly, Michael, and let me check your teeth. Move your jaw like this. He demonstrates opening and closing his mouth. Then Michael looks dazed as he lumbers to his elbows. How can a lip balloon so fast? It looks like the throat sac on one of those big frogs they show on Animal Planet. He spits a glob of bloody saliva into the orange dirt, making me queasy. I'm so sorry, it was an accident, I say. Mr. Patchett tosses me a stern look as he studies Michael and checks his pupils with a penlight. He carefully lifts Michael's lips to see what I've done. Thank God I still see front teeth. Nice going, Mercy, Edna says. Terrific body, Jamie adds. It was an accident, I say again. When you made a bet, if I hit the ball, he'd leave my lunch alone. And everyone up in the stands right now, Mr. Patchett growls. Edna Santos, take attendance. He hands over his clipboard and and then starts to help Michael to his feet. Just as Nurse Harris pulls up in a golf cart, she hops out and grimaces when she sees Michael's bloody gym shirt. And that is the end for our 2 pages and our quick read aloud. So now, let me ask you some questions, okay? Now, so it says at first that she says some word that she can't repeat, so it must be sort of like a curse, right? Hopefully you don't know any curses, and hopefully you've never done that. But anyway, what did you think happened to him? I actually thought that he had hurt, like he had busted his nose or his cheeks, and one of his face bones were broken. Luckily, just upper lip. I mean, that's still pretty bad, but it's better than like getting a head injury or like a real big head injury, or like, getting brain damage and never being able to speak again. That would be pretty terrible. Now, I was right about what Edna was going to say. Now, what did you think that Edna was going to say? Was it similar? I thought that, yeah, like I said before, mine was really similar. Now, so, do you think that Mr. Patchett was really, exaggerating when he said into his walkie-talkie, Miss McDaniels, we need Nurse Harris ASAP to field B, head injury, over. Now, do you think that if you had been Mercy, how would you have felt? Now, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, okay? And actually use a simile. How would you have felt? Okay, I'm gonna use one. I felt as if someone was threatening me to push me over a cliff. So you're terrified, you're mad, right? You're mad and you're scared. Oh, what would happen right here, right? And yeah, that's just my guess, because you're terrified, you're scared, you're angry. And that's basically what Mercy is feeling right now, right? So, do you think that Edna is really exaggerating, or do you think that it really is Mercy's fault? And in the first place, do you think it was Mercy's fault? I don't think so, but it's just all relative, right? Some people might think it's Mercy's fault. Some other people might think it's Michael's fault. Some people might think it's nobody's fault. Some people might blame everybody in the whole universe. Some people might blame the president. Some people might blame the author of this book. Even though I don't know why anybody would do that in their right mind. Or somebody could blame the news reporter that's right now playing on the TV over there. Now, I got a little carried away. So, now here, how Michael's condition? Do you think that it's a really good, do you think it looks really good? Have you ever experienced anybody fainting or getting hurt really badly? Not like a bruise, that wouldn't, a small small like hurt, like maybe you just did this. Ow! Well, that wouldn't count like a real. At least it has to have some blood. I'm not saying that you should go out and be scoping about it and saying, oh, blood, where's some blood? Where's that injury that I want to see? That you would sound more like like a criminal, or like I don't know, like a serial killer or something. Or maybe you would sound like a vampire, right? You're always looking for blood. Using a telescope. That's right now creeping me out though, so I'm not gonna say anything else. Even though it's light outside, the closet doesn't really look very suspicious. Who knows what can leap out of any closet? Or maybe it can bust through the roof somehow. Now, I think that I'm really getting a little carried away. Here, what I want to say is, do you think that Edna and Jamie are both sort of unfairly criticizing Mercy? Have you ever seen somebody like criticizing somebody for no like fair reason? Now, I'm gonna read the last 2 pages of this chapter, okay? Let me read, okay? Let me read. But before that, let's see. The last question before you turn the page and I'm gonna read is, do you think that Michael is going? How do you think he's gonna act to Mercy now? Dun 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 dun! Let's turn the page. Let me now read. Mercy almost killed Michael Clark because he took her stupid fruit snacks. Edna tells her, "Shut up, I say." "Silence," Mr. Patches says. "Bleachers." He helps Nurse Harris load Michael into the golf cart and presses an ice pack to his face. My neck feels hot, and it's not from the sun that's baking down on it either. I walk to the stands and sit alone in the front row, miserable as everyone stares. "He might have a concussion," Edna says loudly as they pull away. "You can only have a few of those in your entire life, you know." Then you say loopy. After Michael is gone, Mr. Patch takes a deep breath and launches into a long lecture on following rules. It's a full-on sermon, and everyone is giving me dirty looks for bringing this upon us. Finally, when there are only 20 minutes left, he makes this number of 1, 2, and we break up into teams for an abbreviated game, thanks to what he calls unfortunate events. "Not you, Miss Suarez," he tells me as I start to head for the outfield. "Report to Miss McDaniels. She needs to interview you for the accident report." He stands there like an enforcer, his arms crossed and his stance wide, "and she'll need to call your parents about your detention." "What?" "I'm thinking about Mommy's rule about how I'm not supposed to cause any calls home from school. I'm not vomiting. I'm not feverish. Those are 2 requirements to make it okay to bother her at work." I try pleading. "But I didn't mean it, Mr. Patchett." "Rules are rules, soldier," he says. You broke them and now you pay. Go on." Do you think that Mr. Patchett is sort of unfair to Mercy? Like, do you think that any child should really deserve that? Well, some people really do need to deserve that, but Mercy's definitely not somebody. Now, anyway, do you think that Edna's really helping situation? And have you ever seen some mean kid like blaming some other kid for some reason? Have you ever seen that before, or have you never seen that before? I have seen that before. And it's not the handball incident, but unfairly treating. I have seen that before a lot in other kids. And now, do you think that Michael really does have a concussion? What do you think? And now, how would you feel towards Edna if you have a Mercy? Well, how do you think that Miss McDaniels is gonna treat Mercy? Like, before just a normal Miss McDaniels, did you think that she was a little strict? Yeah, right? But now, how do you think that Miss McDaniels is? Because now, this is a real serious thing, right? Just when it's not even serious, she's sort of like, right, sort of like Darth Vader. But now, if something happens serious, she should be Darth Sidious. You know, like the, like that. You know, like the lightning coming out of the fingers, like that. Yeah. Speaking about that, I do need to watch Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3 of Star Wars again. Oh, I just need to watch it. It's a masterpiece. Never mind. I'm getting a little carried away. So back here. What do you think that Miss McDaniels is even gonna do to Mercy? And have you ever been called to a principal's office before? Just curious. And anyway, do you think that the teachers are just unfair to Mercy? Well, I already asked that, but still, it's really unfair. And do you think that Mercy's gonna be able to succeed in pleading her case to Mrs. McDaniels, or do you think that's not gonna work? I just have a feeling that's not going to work, right? And if you had been a gym teacher, would you have been this mirthless, or would you be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but rules are rules. I'm sorry about that," or would you just be like Mr. Patchen and say, "Not you, Suarez. Report to Miss Daniels. She needs to interview you for the accident review report." And when the person who's who is guilty please, he just says, "Rules are rules. Broke them, and now you have to pay. Go on now." Would you like that, or would you like, "Oh, I'm sorry, but rules are rules. Next time you can make a better choice." What would you do? I would do the good, not the rules are rules. Suarez, go. I like that. I think that's a little too cruel. Child abuse. I would call this child abuse. And yes, child abuse is a really serious problem. So we gotta think about that. Remember, okay? Gotta think about child abuse. Now, let's go on to chapter 15. So let's go. And remember, this is all the texts that Mercy tries to send, but you can see can you see it's all crossed out. So, so I'm just gonna read the text, and then I'm gonna just say X to make you understand that that this was just something that Mercy did not choose. Okay, chapter 15. Dear Michael Clark, I am sorry I hurt you with my line drive. You should have listened. I did warn you, remember? X. Dear Michael Clark, I am glad that you still have teeth. It is a hard life without them, according to my Beulah. X. Dear Michael, I am sorry I smacked you down with that drive. I'm willing to let you slide on the $5 you owe me because you are new and how you know I'm great at. And how would you know that I'm great at? X. It takes several tries to get Miss McDaniels to approve the sincere letter of apology that is required if I want my detention to be 1 day instead of 2. I give up trying to explain that it was an accident. It's almost 4:30 p.m. on Friday, her quitting time, and she's in no mood to stay a second longer. She drums her polished nails on the desk as I sign my name. I finally just caved and wrote down the highlights from her lecture about the importance of school safety rules. Dear Michael, I am sincerely sorry that my reckless behavior did not reflect the values of Seaward Pines Academy, where we respect the rules always. School rules are made for the students' best interest in mind. As Sunshine Buddy, I should have known better, especially since betting that includes monetary exchange violates school ethics. Monetary? I don't know. Okay, especially Merci Suarez. This will do, Miss McDaniel says as she reviews all the edits. She folds the note and slides it into a fancy Seaward Pines Academy envelope before handing it back to me. He gives this to Michael Clark upon his return to school on Monday. I don't expect you to see and hear for breaking safety rules again. I can excuse a first offense for a new student like Michael. He won't allow the rules. But you should have known better. It is beneath the standards of the Sunshine Buddies. If anything like this happens again, I'm afraid you'll be removed from the organization. My chance to ditch this dumb club is here, but it's all wrong. Leaving isn't the same thing as being kicked out. Yes, miss, it won't happen again. She gathers her things and flips off the light. Have a pleasant evening, Mercy. I walk across campus toward the drop-off circle. Mommy will think my detention is another badge of shame, like last year when I said I didn't want to be in a spelling bee. It was because I'm always a wreck when I do anything on stage in front of people. It makes my eye go crazy, too. She said, Mercy, how will it look to your teachers when you don't even want to try? It's not her car that's waiting though. Instead, it's Poppy's van looking especially shabby in the loop. When I open the door, it squeaks so loud that Miss McDaniels turns toward the sound from across the parking lot. I've never been so grateful for the fact that nobody else is around. Where's Mommy? I asked. Now, anyway, actually, so we're gonna stop there for today, okay? But anyway, chapter 15. So she didn't do all those apologies, but do you think that Michael Clark deserved that snappy? Well, you did deserve it. Now you know that I'm so good. Like, do you think that he deserved that in a way? Well, it wasn't Mercy's fault, and I would feel a little snappy, because it was like Michael did promise to all the risks, right? So, in a way, it wasn't really my fault. Anyway, but do you think that the last note, why do you think that Miss McDaniels sort of did that? Because it was all about rules, right? And how I was so bad, and how I have to apologize. All the things that Miss McDaniels loves to see. That's Miss McDaniels. Okay. Now, do you think that the sense that 1 day of detention is too much? It's sort of too much in a way, right? I think that Mercy should just say that Miss McDaniel should just say, I'm just gonna give you a warning, and it's gonna be that, right? It doesn't need to be like detention for you. Not like that. That's too cruel. That is too cruel. Now, do you think that how do you think that anybody that you know would act towards detention? Mom would be very disappointed in me. And probably my dad too. My friends would be very surprised, but they wouldn't be disappointed in me. And like all moms and dads, they're really disappointed and angry, and sometimes they get berserk, right? Like I know that some kids, when they get detention, the moms are like, this is a badge of shame. Like how Mommy in this book is like, right? Have you ever heard like the speech, if you don't even try, you won't know, you won't experience it, like if you don't even try, it's gonna be bad. Have you ever heard that before? My mom tells me that a billion times, so I of course know, even though it is very good philosophy. Now, how do you think that Poppy is going to respond to this? But do you think that Poppy's gonna be better than Mommy? Yeah, I just think so, right? Yeah, in my opinion, I think it's just gonna be like that. But it's all everybody's opinion, like I always say. Now, a few last questions, okay? How do you think that the giving the envelope to Michael Clark will be? And do you think that Michael is gonna forgive Mercy? What do you think? And finally, do you think that Miss McDaniels is a very kind person or a bad person? Do you think that she's a protagonist or an antagonist? I'll call her an antagonist, you know. What about you? Okay. I'm imagining that you answered right there in my blank. And so, 2 last questions, okay? 1, do you think that Mommy, how do you think that, when Mommy comes home, how do you think that Mercy's gonna be like? How would you feel if you had Mercy? And now, please, do a simile. I felt as if I was in a dark room and I didn't know how to get out, right? You're like blindly looking about and you're terrified if you're gonna bump into something and get a head injury and you're like, oh, where's the door? And you're terrified and you're never gonna get out. Maybe that's probably maybe how she's gonna feel, right? What about you? How would you feel? Now, finally, my last question here is going to be, do you think that Mommy is going, how do you think, if you have been Mommy, how would you have responded to this? I would have, gone random, maybe I would say I would be disappointed, but in the end, I would just try to console Mercy some way. I wouldn't be that mean and say, Mercy, you did that, I'm gonna throw you. Just kidding. No mom in the right mind would actually throw, but I just mean like, I wouldn't be like, Mercy, I'm very disappointed in you. I wouldn't be like that. I'm just saying that. Maybe the throwing parts because I've watched too many Star Wars movies. Anyway, yeah. So this is just a few things I'm just thinking about. You can think about that while you are just doing this, and yeah, predictions are always fun, okay? So we're gonna see what happens next. Dun, dun, dun. Now, few last questions. Number 1, how did you feel about the book? Like, how much did you like it? You know, I love this book. I was like, oh my God, this is an amazing book. I love this. So I hope that you also love this too. How do you feel about the book? Now, what was your favorite part in these chapters? They're just about half of chapter 14 and about 3 pages of chapter 15. Okay, my favorite part has to be when they were getting when they were batting. Like, not when Michael Clark, you know, that was a little too scary. But when they were just batting, I was like, there was just tension and scaredness, but at the same time, it was so exciting. I like that. Now, what about the whole book so far? What was your favorite part in the whole book so far? Now, that's hard to choose, but I would have to say when they were, I don't know, when at the beach, when, you know, Lolo sort of, I guess, strange, or maybe even crazy if you want to think about it on a newer level. Because even though it was sort of sad and sort of like that, it was still exciting, and you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Which I always love. I always love this part, so I like that part. Now, what was your favorite character and your least favorite character? My least favorite character has to be Anna. My favorite character has to be Merci or Lolo. I can't just choose. And if you have like 2 least favorite characters or 2 favorite characters, no worries. You can always do that, okay? So I'm just gonna tell you that. And now predictions. What do you think will happen? Like, first of all, how do you think the mom is gonna take this? How do you think the Poppy is gonna take this? Why didn't that maybe the author put Poppy instead of Mommy to drive home Merci? How do you think that Mercy's gonna feel? Do you think that Michael is gonna apologize? How do you think that Mercy's gonna give the envelope to Michael? How do you think that Anna's gonna respond? Do you think that Mercy's gonna get the bike she always wanted? And also, why do you think as Merci Suarez changes gears and then she's gonna get a new bike? Or do you think it's some symbolic way? Do you think it's already happened? I think it's already happened. See if you can find it out. Find out. Think about it, okay? Now, hope that you love this book recommendation time. So, of course, if Meg Medina, she's a CNN 10 visionary woman of America. So, in America, so she's pretty cool. And so, if you want, you can read all her books. Yeah, I recommend that. And then here are some others. My Side of the Mountain. I did a book club about that. Awesome. And now I'm gonna tick off some books that I have done book clubs about, and some I haven't, because I'm always free. Okay. My Side of the Mountain. What about Where the Red Fern Grows? When You Reach Me. And then what's about The Last Quintista? Rules. Holes. Let's see. Al Capone Does My Shirts. That's a great series. Again, I hope that you had a great, amazing time with me. I really enjoyed, I just loved, and I'm gonna just treasure the moments when I do the book clubs, okay? Keep on reading, make a difference, and I guess have a great rest of your day, okay? Enjoy Merci Suarez Changes